Gang, what's up? Aaron here, Canadian Looney. This just in from the CBC. We have another floor-crossing Conservative. Let's get right into it.
Okay, we have some breaking news just in to share with you, and the headline is that another member of the Conservative Party has crossed the floor to join the Liberal Caucus. We have a statement from Member of Parliament Micheal Ma, issued by the Liberal Party on his behalf. He is the Member of Parliament for Markham Unionville, one of the key Greater Toronto Area seats that the Conservatives won in the last election. And the quote says, "After listening carefully to the people of Markham Unionville in recent weeks and reflecting with my family on the direction of our country, I have informed the Speaker and the Leader of the Opposition that I will be joining Prime Minister Mark Carney in the Government Caucus. This is a time for unity and decisive action for Canada's future. I came to Canada at 12 years old as the youngest of 7, quickly learning the importance of hard work and resilience. Those values, building up others, delivering results, and choosing a path that creates opportunity, have guided me throughout my career in business and now as a Member of Parliament. In that spirit, I've concluded that Prime Minister Mark Carney is offering the steady, practical approach we need to deliver on the priorities I hear every day while door knocking in Markham Unionville. This includes making life more affordable, growing a strong Canadian economy, strengthening community safety, and creating real opportunities for young people and families who are working hard to build their Canadian dream. I enter public service to help people, to focus on solutions, not division. I look forward to working with Prime Minister Carney to make sure that Markham Unionville and all of Canada can move forward with confidence and build a stronger, safer, and more prosperous future." So this is from Micheal Ma, Conservative Member of Parliament, now Liberal Member of Parliament for Markham Unionville, announcing that he's informed the Speaker and the Leader of the Opposition, Pierre Poilievre, that he will be crossing the floor to join the Liberal Caucus and join the governing caucus of Mark Carney. This, of course, will be the second Member of Parliament that has done this. Acadianapolis MP Chris D'Entremont, former Deputy Speaker of the House, a Conservative MP from Nova Scotia, crossed the floor on Budget Day, I believe it was. And, of course, Matt Genereux, the Conservative MP for Edmonton Riverbend, who had been rumored as a possible defector to the Liberals as well, announced that he would be resigning from his seat and retiring from politics at a future date, and has not been seen in the House of Commons or voting even remotely since that announcement was made. So there we are. Ironically enough, tonight is the night of the Liberal Caucus Christmas party. The Christmas gift is that Micheal Ma, the MP for Markham Unionville, has defected from the Conservatives to the Liberals, bringing the Liberals up to 171 seats in the House of Commons, moving ever closer to a majority government. Okay, we'll have more on this. We've got a reporter roundtable coming. We're going to obviously seek reaction on this. In the meantime, are they coming in now? Are we going to go straight to this, gang? What's happening here?
Let's go straight to it.
You know what? This is a breaking news moment. Robert Fife, Joël Denis Bellavance, and Mia Rabson, they're here, they're walking in. Bob, walk in front of the cameraman. It's a breaking news environment. Just to catch everyone up on what's been going on. We were not expecting to do this, but welcome to news in 2025 in the capital city of Ottawa. It's Thursday night. You three are here, so they saved the big announcements for the best journalists roundtable in Canadian television. Micheal Ma, the MP for Markham Unionville. I'm going to Google some results here on the Markham Unionville riding, as this is not expected today, because we had thought a lot of it had died down. A lot of it wasn't necessarily going to happen again, but here we are as Parliament breaks for Christmas. This is a seat, of course, that Paul Chang had held for the Liberals, Bob Soroya for the Conservatives, and John McCallum before that. The results, I'm trying to get the latest numbers from the last election. Just bear with me as I do this research in real time. Oh, hang on now. It changed. Anyway.
He won with 51%.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, 50.65% to 47.05%. So look, we've got a reporter roundtable here. Ottawa Bureau Chief for the Globe Mail, Bob Fife, Joël Denis Bellavance for La Presse, and Mia Rabson with the Canadian Press. Mia, because you jumped in with the math answer and staved me from treading water there on live television, I didn't see this one coming. What do we make of this and where this leaves Pierre Poilievre at this day?
I mean, my only response right now is wow. Like, I definitely didn't see this one coming today. You know, if the Liberals, we know there's still been conversations going on. We know that they're, they want to get this to this majority. this majority number. But, there was not a whiff of this. The day that Chris d'Entremont crossed a few weeks ago, there was a lot of chatter that day. Everyone kind of knew what was about to happen. So this kind of came out of the blue for me, at least. Was not expecting this tonight. I believe that Mark Carney's on his way to the Liberal Christmas party with his new MP.
He sure is. JD, Brookfield did a lot of mergers and acquisitions. Mark Carney is he's brought that into Parliament. He said he'd run it like a corporation, but these aren't hostile takeovers. These are willing takeovers, it seems. Again, focus on solutions. Michael Ma says, not division, similar to what Chris d'Entremont said. What's your takeaway on this one?
So the first one was from Nova Scotia, Chris d'Entremont. This one is from Ontario, which is the core of the election. Win or lose, it's in Ontario that the battle is happening. So it's Christmas ahead of time for Mr. Carney. He's going to be walking around at that Christmas party where about 3,000 people are expected. They paid a lot of money for that party, so they'll be, I guess, applauding the latest recruit from Mr. Carney. And as you mentioned, it's a hostile takeover or willingness. It does change the landscape from now on for Mr. Poilievre and for the Liberal Party. Now they're getting closer to majority without, as you mentioned so often, without having an election. Maybe a majority.
It's remarkable.
It's remarkable.
I think it's probably worth noting that the Liberal Christmas party last year happened the day that Chrystia Freeland quit cabinet, and they had to go to that party, and it was a very different mood than it will be at that Liberal party tonight.
Yeah, that's when, Bob, we all thought Mark Carney might join the cabinet as the finance minister. I don't think he's ever going to be the finance minister at this rate.
Well, actually, he is.
Fair. Yeah.
Let's be honest.
But, when I was a young boy, I used to go to bingo with my grandmother, and when you were one away from a straight line or a four-corner, you were on the hitch. They got 171 MPs now. They're on the hitch for a majority, 172. They need one more.
Well, before the parliamentary break, after Chris d'Entremont had crossed the floor, we were all saying that we were hearing that there was a couple of MPs from Ontario that we expected to cross the floor. I had no idea it was going to be Micheal Ma.
This was not a name anyone mentioned.
This was not a name that anybody had mentioned. On your show a few minutes ago, when you were talking to the House Leader, Stephen McKinnon, he said to you that there were a number of Conservative MPs who have been talking to them about that they support a lot of the legislation that's before Parliament, but they've had to keep quiet on it because the leader and the people around him have been obstructionist. And they and I when I listened to that, I thought, okay, he's hitting at something, but I had no idea that we're going to have obviously a floor crossing tonight. But this is a really serious problem that Pierre Poilievre does not want to recognize. He is behaving very childlike and not as serious in the House of Commons. If you're a member of Parliament, you come here to want to do things. When you have a leader of the opposition criticizing the Prime Minister for traveling, saying he's on a vacation, when he's actually meeting global investors to invest in Canada, when he tries to do a stunt like he did earlier this week to divide Canadians and the country over a pipeline in Alberta, which the Alberta government supports and presumably most Conservatives support, these are probably the kind of issues that drive somebody like Micheal Ma into the Liberal arms. And I suspect that they're talking to a couple more, given the pretty big hint that Mr. McKinnon gave you.
Yeah, he said they wander across the floor to say, we like what you're doing. And I said, kind of glibly, well, unless they walk all the way across the floor. And he had a certain eating grin on his face that I should have picked up on, but I didn't. But look, I want to show you who Micheal Ma is. This is the newest member of the Liberal Caucus. Micheal Ma, he's a Canadian politician. His Wikipedia is going to need to be updated because he's no longer with the Conservative Party of Canada. He is brand new. He still has that new MP smell because he was elected on April 28th in Markham Unionville. Born in Hong Kong, immigrated to Canada at the age of 12, as he said in his statement, raised in Vancouver, British Columbia, and did run before in Don Valley East in 2019. So it's interesting though, Bob, to pick up on your point that he talks about division, right? And we showed this Lauren Gunter column from the Edmonton Journal earlier in a conversation we had about polling data about Mr. Poilievre that we can bring back in a little bit. But he basically said that Lauren Gunter, a conservative columnist for the Edmonton Journal, wrote essentially what Corey Hogan had said, that Pierre Poilievre conservatives favor stunts over substance, and it's hurting them. When you're losing the Edmonton Journal, you've got some challenges.
Since September, that's exactly the kind of tactics and antics that we've been witnessing in the House of Commons. And, he's playing to inside the Ottawa bubble with this, how clever you are in sloganeering and partisan sniping in the House of Commons. And when you contrast that with a technocrat who's prime minister who's trying to actually do things, he doesn't come across as serious. And you watch him in the House of Commons, and he gets, the people around him are chuckling, and he's happy about his partisan stuff. But look at some of these MPs, the more serious guys. They're not laughing. You look at Michael Chong, for example. I'm not saying he's going to cross the floor or anything like that.
No, I don't think he would.
But he does not look like somebody who's enjoying this theatrics.
Well, and one of the concerns that I've had raised with me from, to be fair, Liberals and sort of more conservative-minded watchers is the politicking around a pipeline is actually undermining confidence in a pipeline. Like, investors aren't going to go anywhere near a pipeline if they think that there's not the political will to have it. And so there are growing concerns that the more politic, and maybe for political purposes, it serves the Conservatives, it serves Mr. Poilievre's agenda, that this pipeline doesn't go forward, that no investors step up to the plate. But that doesn't help the arguments that he's making about needing to grow the economy and get more Canadian oil to market. That's what he said he's been advocating for the last several years. A lot of people are saying what he's doing is actually harming that process.
Right. By the way, I'm just texting every conservative comms person. I was like, can we please get a statement and some reaction on this? Sorry, JD, go ahead.
I think it's worthwhile to go back to the night of the election on April 28th. That night, the Conservative leader lost his seat, but there was still cause for celebration because they had won more seats in Ontario. They just lost one tonight.
Right.
And so that's cause for concern. And will other people like Mr. Ma follow his steps and decide to go with the Liberal Party? That, is an open question right now. And it just kickstart again questions about Mr. Poilievre's leadership. And he's facing a critical vote, as you know, in January at the National Convention of the Conservative Party in Calgary. Now that leadership campaign is going to be more into focus because he lost.
And you can expect that over the winter break, because then it'll come back until January 26th.
The end, the end of January.
You can imagine that the Liberals will be talking to other Conservative MPs, those MPs that Steve McKinnon had talked about.
He's obviously got a list, right?
There's a list of them.
Making a list, checking it twice.
And when somebody crosses like that, when you now have two people crossing, who,
and a third one thinking about it too.
Third one. Think about this. Makes it easier, not harder, to cross the floor.
Yes.
That's true.
No,
because you're getting close to majority government. You could be the person that brings them over to form a majority government. Then they're in power for 4 years.
Well, and then the calculation starts too, the internal calculation. I had this conversation with someone from the Liberals and some people from the Conservatives last time, Mia, when we had the Genereux moment, but also the d'Entremont defection. They only need one more. Do you want to be the +1, or do you want to be the second, third, fourth? Or you want to be the +1 if you're thinking about it, because you become the kingmaker, and on the hitch, you're 075, bingo.
Well, and those other people that they're having these conversations with are seeing this today, and they now have decisions to make. Maybe they said they would think about it over the holidays. I mean, I wasn't expecting this tonight, in part because the House rose tonight. They're not sitting for 6 weeks. They said they didn't have to do this tonight. So I'm not entirely clear why the timing of this is happening, but this is what the Liberals were doing. But one more crosses the floor. I mean, this is already bad news for Mr. Poilievre. If one more crosses the floor and the Liberals get a majority, his path to surviving that confidence vote, or his leadership review vote in January, becomes a heck of a lot harder.
The Liberals have their Christmas party tonight, but so do the Conservative Party. So I'm sure that
it
was last night.
The Justice Committee didn't sit last night.
Okay, that's why. Okay, I thought it was tonight.
Well, good thing.
Because we'd all be there camped outside.
Yeah, it's something. But JD, I wonder about this. We were talking about this a little bit earlier, and in a minute, just so the control room knows, I want to go through those Angus Reid polling numbers that we had earlier. Mr. Poilievre, think about a year ago, Chrystia Freeland and all of those things were going to happen, and the invincibility and the inevitability of Mr. Poilievre is the main character in Canadian politics. He was driving the narrative, and it was a lot of the same tactics and the approaches that we see right now, but each time he did this, it brought a response from the Prime Minister and from his team. It gets dismissed now.
Yep.
So if you're trying to start a fight and the other team just does this and moves on, how do you get the traction? How do you get on the track? How do you get the narrative that you need to put yourself at the center of the story? Because Mark Carney is the main character in Canadian politics now. He is driving everything, including a lot of his people nuts with the pace of it all. But you can't get control of it because they won't even engage with it. They just dismiss things like the pipeline thing as a stunt, right?
And fundamentally, I think the problem for Mr. Poilievre is the fact that he does not show much of his team. Who would be the finance minister in a future Poilievre government? I think that was a question that people asked during election campaign. I still have that question in my mind. Who would, among that caucus, could be potentially a finance minister?
His finance critic didn't even do the interviews on budget day. It was Andrew Scheer and Melissa Lantzman, right? Not Mr. Holland. We'd be happy to speak to, but it wasn't put up.
And since September, since he came back to the House of Commons, it remained a one-man show in the House of Commons and in the daily questions and even on press conference. So he needs to show more of his team. He needs to show that he's got, somebody who could be foreign affairs minister.
Well, he's got to do more than that. He's got to show he's a responsible opposition leader. When there are projects that are in the country's national interest, he can't play politics with that. You've got to say, we support these policies because they are in the country's interest. Then people start saying, well, you know what? You're a serious person. You actually care about the country. And then when you can start to and if you start putting some policies forward and the Prime Minister takes them as he has a number of conservative policies, you can make that a case, like I've been a responsible person. But what we get from him are games and sloganeering and cheap political shots. And it's obviously he doesn't see this because he's continuing to do this, and he's very likely, probably, if the hint from Steve McKinnon is there, we may have other people, at least another one.
Well,
coming.
Look, Mr. McKinnon, if you're watching, if you haven't gone to the Christmas party, you're welcome back to fill us in on any details of what's going on. Look, catch people up on what is going on if you're just joining us. You can see the breaking news red banner at the bottom of the screen. There has been another defection from the Conservative ranks to the Liberals. Micheal Ma, the Member of Parliament for Markham Unionville, issued a statement on the day Parliament rose for the holiday break and just in the hours leading up to the Liberal annual Christmas party, said that after listening carefully to the people of Markham Unionville in recent weeks and reflecting with my family on the direction of our country, I have informed the Speaker and Leader of the Opposition that I will be joining Prime Minister Mark Carney in the Government Caucus.
So there we have it, gang. We have another defector on the floor. Micheal Ma crosses the floor to the Liberal Caucus. This doesn't look good for the Conservatives, not one bit. Should be a pretty strange Christmas party. On that note, Aaron, Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe, get your Canadian federal politics right here. Everyone has an opinion about Canadian federal politics. Ciao for now. Catch you in the next video. What a wild time in Canadian federal politics.